Sairam everyone, I'm Dayalan
I'm Tishan.
and welcome to SaiPod.
For our first episode of SaiPod, we have a special guest with us today, Ram Prasad Babu. Sairam Ane.
Sairam brothers.
So how are you today, Anna?
I'm doing very, very good. Thank you very much for asking.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. I know you have been very busy lately.
No, actually, I have to thank you all for inviting me. Thank you so much.
No worries, Anna.
So, Anna, before we start, maybe you could tell us a few things about yourself.
Right. So, I go to SS3 Center and I assist the Group 4 teachers there. And I'm also with the U1 team. And I also assist the Central Region Satyam Shivam Sundaram team.
So, for our discussion today, we have asked a lot of people for questions regarding our topic, which is gadget addiction. So, Brother Dayalan, if you could read out the questions, maybe Anna could share with us his opinions and thoughts.
First question is, what's the biggest effect on people due to gadget addiction?
All right. So, first of all, we have to define what is gadget addiction. So, gadget addiction basically is abuse of gadgets so much that it starts negatively influencing your health and life as a whole. So, the worst victims of gadget addiction that so far that I've seen are children and teenagers. It's because both of the age groups have this mindset that compel them to explore things around them. Some see gadgets as a mode of exploration and learning, but most it becomes a source of entertainment, resulting in addiction. So one of the problems can also be said as communication problem between, let's say, children and parents. It's either the children are hooked too much to the gadgets. It can be smartphones. It can be gaming, PlayStations.
It's interesting how you touched on communication, Anna, because nowadays it's more of like communication is like a major problem because people tend to listen just to answer and not to understand what the other person is trying to say. So I feel like because of this lack of understanding, there's a lot of problems. What do you think about that, Anna?
Yes, of course. One of the most important aspect of being a member of a family or in a relationship. When I speak about relationships, of course, relationship between siblings, relationship between two friends. So, communication is very much important. Have you seen two friends or a family sitting down for a meal in a restaurant nowadays? Each of them will take out their handphones and they'll be in their own world, eating silently. But like, have you ever think this would have happened probably about 15 to 20 years ago with our parents? We'll have a full-fledged conversation, anything which happened in the school or in the family itself. So we'll be catching up with each other's stories and whatever happened in their life on that day. So that is very, very important to keep our relationship healthy.
That brings us to our next question.
So Anna, the second question is, what are the symptoms of someone having a gadget addiction?
One of the most basic symptom would be lack of concentration, attention, or focus. Let's say a student in class. So when the lecturer or the teachers are teaching and you have a handphone with you, a smartphone, every 5 minutes or so you'll get a notification, probably a buzz. Even if you have put it in the vibration mode, it will vibrate and you will check out, okay, who have messaged you, who sent you a message on Facebook or Instagram. So that would affect your concentration, because for you have trained your mind in such a way that you have to look at your phone screen who have actually messaged you or anything. So that would be the first. Second, memory problem. Let's take it back to about 10 to 15 years when you used to remember all the phone numbers in your head and you just pick up some coins and go to the public phone booth, put in dial the numbers and just talk to them. Nowadays, probably you will have your parents' numbers and that's it, and nothing else, because everything else would be stored in your phone. So there's no any motivation for you to keep any numbers, especially in your head. The third, let's go to health problems, headaches, eye problems, backache. How, and it also affects to a certain extent your mental health. And when we speak about mental health, stress, anxiety, and communication disorder. Okay, when we speak about mental health, all right. So let's just imagine this on Facebook or Instagram. If someone uploads something, okay, let's say a picture from his birthday party, and you are not invited, you stress yourself thinking, why am I not invited for that event, right? Second, if you're going to upload a picture, you would select the best picture of yourself and probably filter it, edit it, whatever not. Because the reason is to actually put the best of yourself out there. What about your real self? How do you look within? So what you are actually putting there is a complete different version of who you are, right? Third, how about cyberbullying? And and I'm very, very sure that you have read cyberbullying have led to people committing suicide. So all this, if it's not kept in check, this would end up as a very big problem. So these are one of the symptoms, and I'm very, very sure that you can go to a lot more problem, radiation from the handphones itself and all these things. But yeah, let's just keep it there for now.
Yeah, and so when you said when it needs to be kept in check, how do you know when is it to draw the line between addiction or just simply making use of it at its advantages?
All right. So if you feel there's a need to take up your phone every 5 minutes, then you're already an addict. And if you think every time that there's a notification in your phone and you have this urge of tapping onto the notification to check what is it, you are already an addict. So yep, that is the easiest form to know whether you're an addict or not.
So thanks, Anna. Moving on to the next question. Now, what do you think about the upcoming generation lifestyle would be like? Like, do you think they'll prioritize gadgets over loved ones?
That's a very good question. This is a question right now that should be asked to the parents nowadays. What is going to be their choice, the importance? Because if the parents right now are going to give much importance to the gadgets than spending quality time with their children, the children are going to give more importance to the gadgets than the loved ones.
Yeah, they're just going to follow the same thing the parents going to do.
Exactly. So you would need to let the young ones know that the loved ones are much more important. So then you can see their choice would be more to the loved ones or not. They will definitely will be going the wrong way of making gadgets as a priority.
So Anand, talking about parents and like their children being addicted to phone and all, what if like genuinely what they're doing in the phone is not something negative but instead something positive, like going through like not going through as in like getting information on useful stuff, and it's not like they're wasting time because they are actually gaining something beneficial out of it. It's just that they don't necessarily go and talk to their parents or their family members, but in a way they are doing something beneficial from the internet. It's not a complete waste of time.
Right. Gadgets are like knives, right? In the hands of a butcher, it takes life. In the hands of a surgeon, it gives life, right? If it's used correctly, with limit, definitely it's useful. I'm in my 30s and I need all this technology for my work. I definitely understand. It makes my whole life much easier. But there's always a limit. You must know how to prioritize your needs, what to do when. And when it's kept to its minimum, and when it's only used when it's necessary, you can see your life gets much better in every way possible.
All right, thank you. Brother Dayalan,
Yes, alright.
maybe you can move on to our next question.
So Anna, I think the gadgets makes people less present in discussion. What can we do to start making it a norm for people to be present rather than the gadgets?
First and foremost, we have to be always aware when you sit down for a conversation with your friends or family, or even if you're going into a class to learn something, mute your phone and put it away. And if you think if you're going to put it in your pocket or put it on the table is going to distract you, please put it in your bags. That would somewhat help you to be more conscious and focused in the conversation that you are having.
But maybe you could share with us how we could overcome this problem,
Definitely, one of the most basic thing, keep the use of mobile phones, tablets, or any other gadgets to its minimum. Use only when it's necessary. That's going to be the first. Second, do not give your mobile phones or any other gadgets to your children at a very early age. They'll get addicted to it. Right?
Yeah.
Because when the children have nothing to do or play, the shortcut that a lot of parents actually do is that to give their handphones to pacify them, play a video on it.
Yeah.
There are many other modes available. Try them, please. And another thing is that when you use gadgets excessively in front of your children, they tend to follow you and they'll try to explore it too. So at times when you really need to give the gadgets to them, it should be done completely under your supervision, right? And lastly, have a gadget timeout session in your house. Probably 2 weeks once, the whole day. Just shut all your phones and your gadgets and everything. Do go out with your family, do something with your family, and experience the timeout session without being disturbed by any of this. Then you will know the other side of living without gadgets, and you wouldn't get that hooked on to it too. All right? And if all this cannot help, please get professionals to help you out from this. All right. Yep, that's it.
So we're coming to the end of our podcast. Anna, could you share with us maybe what Swami said about addiction in general?
Swami has told that addiction equals to madness. And madness for God is the least harmful and the most beneficial, while madness for the world results in misery. And I think that is one of the most beautiful quotes which has beautifully fit our whole podcast for today.
So basically, instead of craving for material pleasures and worldly desires, we should crave the love of God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep. Hey.
Oh my god. It's okay. So that's the end of our podcast. Thank you, Babu Anna, for coming today.
Thank you so much for inviting me again. Om Sai Ram.
Om Sai Ram. Thank you everyone for listening to our podcast. Hopefully, if you made it till this far, whatever we discussed today would have benefited you in a way or two. And
ultimately, thank you, Somi. Thank you, Somi, for this opportunity. And without you, nothing would have happened. Jai Sai Ram.
And also, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the comment section below, or there will be a Google Doc in our description. And please do continue to support this podcast series, and we'll see you again soon. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, everyone.
Ram Prasad Babu. Sai Ram, Anna.
Thank you so much. Sairam, right? But thank you so much.
Thanks for coming today, ne? I know your schedule been really packed nowadays, but yeah, thanks for spending it.
Sorry, Alan can't speak English.
This is the first
Subtitles, please.
First question is, every time I see Deshan, I feel butterflies in my stomach. Can I get to know him? Maybe a date, maybe. Okay, sorry.
So, one of the biggest thing from gadget addiction blah, blah, blah.